Hello, beautiful people. I'll give people a minute to jump on and join me. I just put on lip gloss, as you might notice. Thinking it's really funny because the only time you ever put on lip gloss in your house alone is when you're going to do Facebook Live. Or not, but I just think it's funny. It's like, of course, I'm just sitting around with lip gloss on, as one does. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Brenda. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. How are you all? It's tonight for me. It's 10:37 p.m. in Boulder. And so, good evening, good day, good morning, good whatever. Thanks, Alicia. Looking gorgeous in my house alone. So funny. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to share this one place. Okay. So let's chat. I haven't done one of these like late night, Facebook Live thingies in a while. I'm have a little cocktail. I did this cocktail body video thing today earlier with Sarah Grandinetti. She has a Facebook group called Possibility. I think it's Possibility Posse or Possibilities Posse or something like that. And she's doing this 30-day body, really cool conversations on bodies for 30 days. And we did a cocktail thing today where it was 11 o'clock my time and I made a cocktail. I did not drink it. I almost did, but then I was like, if I drink this, I'm going to be needing a nap and I don't have time to nap today. But it got me in the cocktail, state of mind. So I used to do these cocktail chats all the time where I would like make a drink with you and show you the recipe and all that. I haven't done one of those in a long time. I don't know if I'll do them again, but this tonight is a really fun, I'll just tell you, I got this beautiful oolong, orange blossom oolong tea. I got some new tea from my favorite tea company, TWG Tea out of Singapore. Orange blossom oolong, and I mixed it with gin, orange blossom syrup, which is like so good. And what else did I put in it? Lavender lemon balm bitters, Meyer lemon liqueur, lemon juice. I don't know what else. Something like that. It's really good. And some lemon rind and this little ice cube, and it's all good. Oh, rose. It has rose in it. It has my favorite thing right now, which is rose nectar. So it's like flowers and citrus. It's got lavender, orange blossom, and rose. And then it has like Meyer lemon and orange and gin. That's what it is. So it's good. I have no idea what the recipe is. I just poured a bunch of stuff in and I just kept pouring it in. But I wanted to... oh man, I've had some really cool conversations lately, and I just kind of wanted to come and, I don't know, ramble, muse a little bit, just jam with y'all who are interested in a different conversation about a different possibility in the world. The world is very weird right now. We've probably all noticed. Things are very strange. I don't understand what is happening, but the good news is you don't need to understand. Trying to understand anybody or anything requires you to actually go so far into their reality that you have to like take it on, mimic it, literally stand under it so that you can make sense of it, so that you can somehow figure out how something that makes no sense makes sense, To me, what's happening in the world right now makes no sense at all. Like none. Other than the fact that I totally trust consciousness. And to me, it's like consciousness is, I know it's always moving and unfolding in the direction of greater. Always, 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 always. I never doubt that. I mean, that's not true. There are moments where I'm like, we all do that. But really, when it comes down to it, it's like consciousness cannot be stopped. It can't be, changed or control. I mean, it can be, whatever. It can't be like the trajectory of consciousness cannot be altered. And so we can fight it and resist it and try to control it, or we can just jump into the river and flow with it. Now, flowing with it also involves us having our potency. And this is part of what I wanted to talk about because we had this beautiful conversation. I was in the advanced body class this weekend with Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness. First live class that we done in Access Consciousness of this size. There was over 100 people there. None of us were wearing masks. It was quite wonderful. We hugged, we touched each other's bodies. It was wonderful. Nobody got sick. Nobody got the cooties. It was wonderful. It was very nourishing for everybody there. I don't know. Didn't talk to everybody there, but you know what I mean? It was very nourishing. And for me, especially, it was just like, I was so happy to be able to be with people in a room without the crazy crap, and all this separation stuff that's going on. And we just had some really cool conversations about power and potency and what's happening in the world right now. And it really had me start to think about, and just look at it seems like these days, like a lot of the places where I look, especially because I live in a very woke town, Boulder, Colorado, it's got more points of view than most other places in the world. It's hilarious. I find it really funny when you live somewhere that Boulder is extraordinarily politically correct. San Francisco and Seattle are more politically correct, but Boulder's third, in the country in political correctness. And it's so interesting to see that when you have that much need and conviction to be correct politically, and then of course that goes into all these other areas of the pandemic and and all these things. There's so much judgment that you have to hold in place about what's right, what's wrong, and how to be right and how to be righteous, how to be woke, and how to not be wrong, and how to not offend people, and how to not piss people off, and how to be respectful, and how to not disrespect people, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's so interesting to watch because this town, I've lived here for more than half my life at this point. I've lived here for, I guess, half my life. I moved here in 1996, so I've lived here for 25 years. And it's changed a lot, and I've changed a lot, and I don't love it like I used to, but that's a story for another time. But the point is that, there's so many opinions right now. There's so many points of view. There's so much judgment about right and wrong and good and bad. You're a good person if you do this. You're a bad person if you do this. If you wear a mask, you're good. If you don't, you're bad. If you get a vaccine, you're good. If you don't, you're bad. If you, whatever, if you believe in, not having the pronoun she anymore, you're good. I personally love being female, in this lifetime. I've been everything. We've all been everything. So who cares? That's my point of view about me. I'm very politically incorrect. I don't espouse to be politically correct. But the point is that, when we need to make sense of all of that, make sense of the world, make sense of the absolute insanity that the world is right now, we have to give up this whole aspect of who we, like, not an aspect, we have to give up so much of who we are. We have to give up really like what we know as infinite beings. And we have to like dive into the carrot soup of this reality and like think that we're being good because now we're all orange, and we all taste like carrots, but I don't want carrot soup like probably ever, but definitely not every day, Diversity is a wonderful thing, and I mean that in the greatest sense of the word diversity. I mean that in terms of like even having different points of view is a good thing. Having different perspectives on life is a good thing. Having different, like being different is actually a wonderful thing. And somehow there's this, it's all being sort of like thrown out with the bathwater, and being different is like so important now that you need to be made the same so that you can be different. I don't quite get that. But I'm not into, so it's like, I'm not like that. There's this homogenization going on, and this whole thing of like, we need to all agree, what if we don't need to all agree? Alicia says, is there a magic ingredient to stop trying to understand? Yes, it's called you. It's called you. And this is where I'm rambling, but this is where I knew, I almost called this ramblings because that's what I do at 11 p.m., But one of the conversations that we had in this beautiful class this weekend was about like the power and potency that we have to actually be different. And it takes some courage these days in the world to actually be different, interestingly enough, even though there like people that are pretending to, have a whole thing about difference. It's not actually about difference. It's like, let's make ourselves all the same so that we're not different, so we don't get discriminated against. Well, let's just stop doing discrimination and let's celebrate our differences. And part of that is also having the potency that we be. Hi, Nancy. Being the potency that we be. And I'm seeing, like, I started to notice for myself that I was sort of giving up on that some. And I realized that this weekend that I was like, well, it's just easier to wear a mask, and it's easier to just sort of like comply with the stupid shit that's going on right now, And I realized, wait a minute, this is not the world I wish to create. Like, we've been wearing masks for a year. I think if it was gonna like make a difference, it would have by now, There's lots of statistics that show that, places like Texas just opened up a month ago. They stopped wearing masks. They're actually doing better with COVID, So there's all these statistics that nobody wants to see. It's not about COVID, but it is about the crazy shit that's going on in the world under the guise of all of this. That is this, sort of global effort to control and homogenize. And guess what's going to stop that is us being the potency that we are and choosing what is true for us and being that in the world, being willing to be judged for it, being willing to like not wear a mask and be judged as a horrible person, or whatever it is. Like, I'm using that as one example because it's something that a lot of us do every day, and but also to put people into question, because for me, it's like, I know there's a lot of people that I know that don't actually quite, well, don't quite or don't at all agree with what's happening in the world right now and see the bullshit of all of it. I mean, there's so much bullshit. There's so much lying going on. But sort of comply because that's going to make your life easier. Well, we're not creating a future when we do that. And this isn't about fighting, but it is about actually being something different. And here's the thing, is when we be something different, we actually start to create something different. The way that you create a different future for you is by being something different and receiving something different and choosing something different And like lovely Alicia just said, turning it up, you know? And as we do that, there's this momentum that gathers of this different energy in the world that most people are just sort of asleep, and they're like, well, I'm just going to wait until this is all over. Just wear my mask, get my vaccine, and just wait till it's all over, you know? But in the complacency of that, there's this undercurrent that's going on in the world of like massive control and changing of all kinds of systems. And I mean, just there's so much being tweaked and changed and adjusted right now. Somebody's like banging around in my house. I don't know what the hell's going on. There's teenage shenanigans going on down there. And so with that, it's like, what if it's time to not go to sleep? What if it's time to not actually just sit back and wait for it all to end? What if it's not time to, you know, like just go, fuck it, I'll just do what they want me to do so that it makes my life easier, you know? What if it's not about any of that? What if it's actually about turning it up, like Alicia said? What was all that banging?
I was crushing cans to fit in my trash can.
Okay. And so what if it's actually about like really going, you know, like showing up as who we are? And that might look in one moment like you're challenging the status quo. And in another moment, it might look like you don't say a word. And then in another moment, it might look like you really take a leadership role in, you know, choosing what's true for you. And in another moment, you back somebody else up. And in another moment, you put somebody into question. You know, so this doesn't look the same all the time. And the one thing that I see that I would say is a huge detriment to a lot of the people that are speaking out about what's going on in the world right now is that they're doing it from this energy of fight and resistance and making it wrong, like making the state of affairs and all the control that's being, you know, waged right now, basically like making it wrong and making the people that are doing it wrong. And when you do that, then you have to fight it. And when you fight it, you make it actually more real because you have to align and agree with the reality of it in order to resist and react to it, in order to fight it. And then this happens. Well, what happens when I do this is that like this hand gets more solid from the pushing of this hand. Like they make each other more solid when you do this push, right? And so we have to go to one of my favorite tools in Access Consciousness that nobody uses, which is called interesting point of view, where you actually just go, okay, interesting point of view. I have this point of view about this, you know, no matter how intense, insane, you know, no matter how little you understand it, no matter how, whatever, interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. It's all a point of view. All of it. Everything. Even your points of view are just points of view, you know? And when we can go to that space and when we can be that space of interesting point of view, guess what happens? The definitions that you have of you loosen, dissolve, because we use our points of view to hold our definitions of ourselves in place. They go away. And as they go away, what's left in their wake is a lot more possibility and actually a lot more magic. And this is where we actually can begin to create rapid change in the world and create the world that we desire to have and the world that we know is possible from the magic of it and as the magic of it, as the magic of us, rather than the buying it all as real and resisting it and pushing and literally like using our points of view and our resistance to actually further solidify and lock in the problem that we have said that we would like to change. So we feed it. We feed those dragons with our points of view and our resistance and our efforts to understand. And so, Alicia, you know, how do you deal with this trying to understand it? Well, stop. go to interesting point of view and actually like stop, and stop it. I always say is the most advanced tool in access consciousness. And because it requires you to be willing to just go, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to engage with this. I'm not going to have judgment about this. I'm not going to buy in to what's going on right now. Not again from resistance and reaction, but actually like, I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose to be space. I'm going to choose to melt this. I'm going to choose to relax. I'm going to choose to expand. I'm going to choose to be the magic of me. I'm going to choose to be the potency of me. I'm going to choose to ask questions. I'm going to choose to have no point of view and to not resist anybody else's point of view or make anybody or anything wrong. And I'm going to choose to be something different. And there's a potency that comes with that is that we be when we be that. That is dynamically different. Like it's very, it's very beyond this reality. And what occurs then is because the way that we're going to change the world, the way that we are changing the world already, is by actually ignoring this reality. Now, you might say, well, how the fuck can you do that right now? How can you ignore, and I'm not saying don't pay attention to what's going on in the world, because, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss a lot of stuff, and there's going to be awareness of what's going on that would really be a contribution for you to have. And so, so you want to be aware. You definitely want to be aware of everything. Like you want to be aware of way more than what you can tolerate being aware of, actually. But that's a story for another time. The tools to work with that. But in the awareness of it, it's like, don't feed it. Don't feed it with your resistance. Don't feed it with your reaction. Don't feed it by making it real. And I look at so everybody's talking now about travel and vaccine and passports and blah, 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 blah. I am so clear that I will never stop traveling all over this beautiful planet as I have since I was 7 years old. I started traveling all around the world when I was 7. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. My parents were amazing, and they took my brother and I on they took us to so many beautiful places, and I got to really see the world. By the time I was 18, I saw so much of the world. So grateful for that. I will never stop doing that. Nor will I be vaccinated. I'm not going to succumb to what they are telling me that I need to do in order to have that freedom. No, that is not my reality. And I'm not fighting it. Other people can do it. That's fine. I'm not making that wrong. I know what's true for me. What's true for me is I believe in my immune system. I believe in my body. Amazing. Imagine that. Nobody believes in their body anymore. I do. I love my body. My body is strong. It's wonderful. And it's totally capable of handling anything. I'm very, very clear about that. So I don't need, pharmaceuticals to deal with anything. And, if I do choose to take pharmaceuticals for something, then great, but for this, this is not what is going to be going on. So, but the point is that I recognize that I have choice always. I have choice in everything that I create in my life, everything. We have choice, you guys, and this is our greatest superpower, is we have so much more choice than we think we have. Even if you think you have a lot of choice, you have so much more than you think you have. You have so much more choice. You have, if you are willing to be so different and to claim, own, and acknowledge the choice that you have, you can create and actualize anything that you would like to actualize. Anything. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to know how. How am I going to travel around the world and, do what I'm going to do and do what I know I'm going to do and what I love to do? on my terms. I don't know how, but I also don't not know how. Because to me, it's not about the how. The how is irrelevant, totally irrelevant. The how is I choose it. I choose it, and I play with more consciousness every day. I choose more consciousness every day. I ask a lot of questions every day. Play with the tools of access consciousness, and I live in the stream of consciousness as much as I can, and there's more of that every day for me, because that's how I choose to be in the world. And am I perfect? Fuck no. And is there more? Oh my God, yes. Always, there's so much more. But I choose. I need to take a little drink. My throat's dry. I celebrate and value and believe wholeheartedly in the power of me as a being and the power of my choice. And so I don't worry about the shenanigans of the world. I don't worry about it. I don't stay awake at night trying to figure out how to fight it. I do ask every day, all day long, what's it going to take to change this, and what's actually occurring right now, and what is right about all of this? It's one of my favorite questions. What's right about all of this? Is this consciousness moving in the direction of greater? Yeah, it is, in the weirdest way. Because sometimes consciousness is moving in the direction of greater in ways that look not at all like that, but we don't know where this is going. I mean, we do and we don't. I would say I do and I don't. Hey, Zamara. But the point is knowing what we know. And there is such a power and a potency in that, knowing, truly knowing what is true for us. And there will be so many people that try to talk you out of it, that try to convince you out of it, that try to judge you out of it, that try to judge you into compliance, into being a good person, into doing what's right for the rest of the world, But who decides what's right for the rest of the world? I mean, who decides that? Who gets to decide that? The only way that you can have access to what's actually going to be a gift to the rest of the world is your awareness. That's it. That's not a popular point of view. But it might make you feel lighter, and if it does, go with it. For me, it's how could I possibly know what is going to contribute to the world from somebody else telling me? I have to know what I know about that, And it doesn't always look like we think it's going to look, as I said, with this whole thing that's going on in the world right now. It's we never would have thought. I mean, I think some of us had an idea that some shit was going to go down, in the name of consciousness, and not even in the name of consciousness, but as consciousness is creating itself as greater, there's some fallout that needs to happen. So this is my new thing, let's coin this hashtag, the great backfire, because they're calling it the Great Reset, and the World Economic Forum is oh, it's the Great Reset. You will own nothing and be happy. You'll have no money, and we will have all of the money, and you'll be our slaves, and it'll be so wonderful, Well, guess what? That's backfiring. At least it is with me, because guess what I'm choosing? I'm choosing way more potency than I've ever chosen before from all of this. And perhaps you are too, if you're here still listening to this. Perhaps you are too. Choosing something different, choosing freedom more than ever, choosing potency and power more than ever, choosing to not have a point of view more than ever, choosing to create your life and your future more than ever, choosing, whatever it is that you're choosing more than ever, consciousness more than ever, from all of this. So the great reset, may it be the great backfire. May we step so dynamically into our potency and our power and the consciousness that we be, the potency and the power of kindness and the kingdom of we, and the unfolding of consciousness into greater, and the care for the planet, and the care for our bodies, and the reverence for our bodies, and the knowing what it is that our bodies are capable of, and the honoring of our innate microbiome and our immune systems, and the health of the earth, and the health of the soil, and the communion with the earth, and what is available when we treat the earth and our bodies with honoring and respect and acknowledgement of the greatness that they be, and the ever evolving, unfolding, moving in the direction of greater consciousness that they be. That is the only thing that's going to actually work here. It's the only thing that's going to work. Because you can kill the viruses, and then there's going to be stronger ones, and then you kill those, and then there's stronger ones. And we use all these chemicals, and then we just kill our bodies, and we kill the earth, And by the way, we can't kill the earth because guess what? We will die as a species before that happens. The earth is fine without us, absolutely fine without us. We are not going to be able to survive without the planet, just, in case anybody wasn't aware of that. But if you're listening to this, you probably knew that already. So I'm probably preaching to the choir in that respect. So there's this magic, you guys, in the organisms of consciousness that we be, that our bodies be, that the planet bees, that we be as consciousness, that we be together. I mean, being in this class this weekend with 100+ people, hugging each other, touching each other's bodies, doing energy work with each other, having these incredible conversations about possibilities and consciousness and stuff that nobody on the planet talks about. Nobody on the planet talks about this stuff. I've never ever had these conversations anywhere else. And being with people and communing with them and conversing with them and being belly to belly with them. And, it was such a blissful expansion of my life and living. And I know that was true for everybody else and our bodies. And there's just so much magic that got created. And the only thing we can do at this point is trust what is light for us, what expands our world and our reality. And for me, I was so blissed this weekend to be around beautiful people, not people that want to die or people that want to comply or people that believe the fucking propaganda, but beautiful people that are committed to something different. That fed me and nourished me in ways that nothing else can. And that's what you got to follow, and it may not be that for you. It may be something different. For me, it's like things that make me have that much bliss and expand my world that much. I trust them. I lean into them. I run wholeheartedly in the direction of that. And in doing so, there's just more and more and more and more and more. And this is how we build this different reality. We ignore what's going on while still having awareness of it, but don't buy it. Don't buy it. Don't buy into it. Don't make yourself at the effect of it. Ignore it. and create something different based on what you know, the magic of you, the consciousness that you be, the unique awareness that only you have. Lean into that. Create that. Surround yourself with people who are creating that as well. Challenge the status quo when it's time to challenge the status quo. You know, one of the things I did this weekend is I did not wear a mask. And thank you, Shannon O'Hara, for chatting about that in class. Shannon and Gary had this beautiful conversation about power and potency and choice. And you know, we vote with our money, you guys. We do. We actually, you can make yourself, you know, at the effect of the people that say you have to wear a mask, you know, and you may want to wear a mask, and that's fine. That's not wrong. Nothing wrong with wearing a mask. I personally really like oxygen. I don't like wearing a mask. It doesn't work for my body. And I have my ways of doing it that, you know, where I can on an airplane or whatever, you know. But I realized, gosh, you know, I'm like being compliant with this thing, and I don't want to be compliant. I'm not that kind of a person, you know. And I didn't wear a mask for 3 days. I was out, I was in restaurants, I was in Ubers, I was in, you know, and nobody said anything, you know. And I was in a state where it's not a legal thing, you know, so that helped. But when all the stores, they say you have to wear a mask or you can't come in. And I was like, well, I'm not going to. If you want me to leave, then I won't spend my money here. You won't have my money, because I will be voting with my money. And, you know, what would it take for all of us to have way more money that we can vote with, you know? And please do be asking for that if that is something that you would like to have, because, and that's also a story for another time, but there's so much more that you can do and create and choose when you have money. So, you know, and there's lots of tools in Access Consciousness for creating more money. So check it out, the books, all that, you know. Money Isn't the Problem You Are, How to Become Money Workbook, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, Right Riches for You. There's like lots of, what did I do on the airplane? I have a silk mask that is really light, and I let it hang down to about here. And if somebody tells me to pull it up, I like bend it out so that it stands way out from my nose, and I can breathe really easily with it. So I do wear it on the plane. But I have also asked for, like, this is one of the things that I do with travel, is I ask for like really cool and different flight attendants and people to encounter, like, basically humanoids, like humanoid flight attendants, and to encounter, you know, people that have a different reality, that don't buy into this stuff. So I ask for that on all my flights and everywhere I go, for those to be the people that I interact with. So that's part of it. But we have way more choice than we realize, you guys. We have way more power and potency than we're willing to be, always. And you step into more, and there's still just universes more. And it's a great thing to be asking for every day. And to be asking, what am I not willing to choose? What am I not willing to be? That if I would choose it, if I would be it, would change everything. I love those questions. And recognize that, you know, I mean, for me, what I got really present with this weekend is, if I don't do this, if I don't step into my power, my potency, my choice, voting with my money, my commitment to freedom, my knowing, like, it's like just knowing that I'm free. I am free. I don't even have to be committed to it. I just am free. I don't have the point of view that I'm not, ever. Nobody can take my freedom away, ever. Like, that's just not something that is even possible, because I am an infinite being, you know. I will always have choice. I will always have the capacity to create in any circumstance, in any situation. And I know that. Stepping into that is something that is such a fucking gift to the world right now. Such a gift to the world right now. And required, and you'll know if this is true for you or, whatever, if this reads for you. But for me, it's like, I just, I look at everything and it's just like, I really, it's time to turn it up for me. And it's time to move in the world in a different way. And it's time to not be compliant, and also to not fight, because that doesn't do anything. But it's time to be the leader that I am for a different reality. And so as part of also making this Facebook Live, I just really wanted to invite anybody who's willing to receive the invitation into what it is that you know about this. And the way you do it is not going to be the way that I do it. The way that you move in the world is not going to be the way that I move in the world. The way that you express what it is that you know, what's true for you, it's not going to be the same as it is for me. What's true for you won't be the same as what's true for me. We are different beings, and that's the beauty of difference. That's the beauty of difference. We're different beings. You know things that I don't know. Thank God. Right? Like, thank God, what if we all knew the same thing? Wow. That would be really boring, I'm so grateful that you know things that I don't know. And I'm so grateful for what I know. And I'm grateful that we're all here together exploring this. And, let's explore it even more. Let's be it even more. Let's invite the world to it even more. There are people that are dying for this conversation that don't know that it even exists. So please be having these conversations with people. Share this video even, that would be wonderful. Because people are hungry for this, and they're hungrier more and more every day as their lives continue to erode and erode more and erode more and more and more. Oh no, we're in our 27th lockdown, and we've been wearing masks for 5 years and we're never going to stop. That's totally where this could be going. It's up to us. Governments don't actually make the laws and the rules. Like, they don't rule the world. We do. We do with our choices. We do with our choices. I love that Michelle follows. I love you so much. She says, I very rarely wear a mask. Nobody says anything because I'm usually happy. Hello. Happiness is the antidote to this reality and the antibody to this reality, right? I love that. Michelle Fullis you are a gift, my dear. I'm just so grateful for you. So grateful for you. So yeah, what have you really been like desiring to choose and be different, and like, how have you been desiring to move in the world, and what's true for you that it's just time to step into. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to change the world for us, as we can see right now. The more complacency I see, the more compliance I see, the more I go, wow, like, I might be one of the very few people on the planet willing to have a different reality, and willing to know what I know, and willing to trust me, and willing to trust what I know. And you know what? That doesn't mean that I'm fucked. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be the minority. It means that I'm different and my voice is required. It means that it's time to step it up even more. It means that I can create my own reality. It doesn't matter if 7.9 billion people are choosing, compliance and complacency. There's the 0.1 billion that knows something different. And It doesn't take many people. It does not take a majority or anywhere close to change the world. It does not take a majority. It takes a few people willing to be something different and speak to something different and invite people to something different that creates the magic of a different possibility. And if there was ever a time for that, it would be now. The world requires you, dear friends. Truly requires the difference that you be, the voice that you be, the knowing that you be. The world requires you and that. So would you be willing to choose it and be it? And I would personally be so grateful. So grateful, because I would like more playmates. And I also don't require more playmates, because I will go and I will create my reality, even if not a single person on planet Earth comes with me. I will create, and I am creating my reality. And it is about kindness and the kingdom of we and consciousness and the planet and what's actually possible. And I'm willing to go it alone. And it's also really fun to do it with other people to the extent that we can, because again, we each know something very different. So thanks, y'all, for being here with me tonight. Yes, to play. I love it, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for being you. I'm very, very grateful for all of you. Please do, if you enjoyed this video, share it, like it, comment, blah, blah, to like bump it up in the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. What can we create together? Yeah, so if you would like more, I actually have a new podcast. I'm so excited. I did a radio show for years, and we just started a new podcast, Creation of Living Podcast. It's on my website, heathernichols.com. And the first episode is up there. It's about magic with Sylvia Puentes. There's lots of upcoming classes and stuff, and we have next week, actually on Thursday and Friday, a Magic of Being You class. It's a one-day Being You class based on the book Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dane Heer. And it's called Being Magic, The Adventure of Being You. It's a one-day class, but it's spread out over 2 days because we don't know how to count and access consciousness. I definitely don't know how to count. So it's like 2 afternoons in the United States, Thursday and Friday for 3 hours each day. There's a manual, there's all kinds of wonderful materials, and we will dive probably pretty deeply into this and more. What occurs when you're willing to be so unapologetically, unabashedly you, that you unlock the magic that you are, and we begin to change things, and you begin to change and create your life with a rapidity and an ease and a space and a beauty that is something that, you haven't perhaps been able to do before. So I'm very, very looking forward to that class. And there's also a Global Foundation class at the end of, starts April 30th with Gary Douglas and Dane here, the creators of Access Consciousness. If you haven't done any Access Consciousness classes, there's a BARS class with Brendan Watt the day before, which is a prerequisite for the foundation. Really a class that gives you a humongous toolbox that allows you to create and change anything and create a different world. And that's on accessconsciousness.com. It's Global Foundation. You can come to Mexico. There's going to be 600 people in a room in Mexico, loving each other up. And you can also join online for that as well. So lots of cool stuff, lots of beautiful offerings and conversations, and I'm just so grateful for all of it. I love steeping myself in these conversations every single day, and really exploring the possibilities that are unfolding right now as we speak. It's a very exciting time, and it's not a travesty what's going on right now. It's not a tragedy. It's not horrific. It is just simply the changing the change of the world that a lot of us have been asking for, showing up in a way we didn't expect, but that's kind of how it always goes. So it's okay. Let's keep going, and let's keep being. More than anything, let's keep being and be more and more every day. So thanks everybody for you. Please do share this and go out in the world and just have way more fun than you're supposed to. Have a beautiful day, night, morning, whatever, wherever you are in the world. And I really do hope to hug all of you soon. We will. Bye-bye.